When we talk about this cycle of seeking approval, we're really talking about the brain's reward system, particularly the role of dopamine. Studies show that dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for feelings of pleasure and motivation, is activated during moments of anticipation and reward. When we seek approval from others, whether through a smile, a compliment, or a social media like, this anticipation creates a dopamine spike. But the effect is short-lived, and to feel the same satisfaction, we soon start seeking the next hit of approval. Have you noticed that the most interesting people are the ones who don't seem to care about impressing anyone? They have a calm, confident energy that makes them stand out without chasing attention. And here's the secret. The less they seek approval, the more magnetic they become. But this unbothered attitude goes beyond simply not trying to please others. It's about being open to experiences and connections we can create. So, what stops us from living in this more magnetic, light, and detached way? Why is it that we tend to put so much energy into one specific person or a fixed idea of the ideal connection? Part of it comes from what we see around us, especially in movies and pop culture. We're practically trained to believe that we need someone to complete us, as if happiness depends on finding that right person. In practice, though, when we become obsessed with this search, we lose something essential, the sense of wholeness that comes from within. We focus so much on pleasing and impressing others that we end up neglecting our own essence, and with it, the kind of energy that truly attracts people. This chase for external validation is fueled by a dopamine cycle. Every little bit of approval or attention becomes a dose of reward for our brain. But at the same time, it also brings ongoing insecurity because without realizing it, we become dependent on that approval to feel good. In the end, it's as if we're constantly chasing the next emotional like, losing sight of the peace and confidence that come from self-sufficiency. And that's what stops us from building that natural magnetism. Instead of simply being, we're always trying to be something for others. The researchers found that this reward cycle, especially in people with a tendency toward impulsivity, makes us constantly seek external stimuli to feel good, which can create a pattern of emotional dependency. And that's where the importance of universal love and a sense of self-sufficiency comes in. When our well-being depends on internal factors and our own sense of value, we can avoid this race for approval, generating a much more attractive and authentic energy. So why is it so hard to break this cycle and shift our focus from external approval to self-sufficiency? The issue is that, besides dopamine, emotional traps in our brain also come into play. From an early age, we're conditioned to adapt to please and be accepted, which often reinforces the idea that we need to earn others' affection, almost like a trade. This pattern creates emotional dependency. If I feel my value is in someone else's hands, I'll always need external validation to feel good. This emotional mode is something our brain does automatically, and it can be a real thief of peace of mind. When we expect validation to come from outside, we're constantly trying to adjust and mold ourselves to what we think others expect, gradually losing touch with who we really are. This process, besides being exhausting, drives people away from us instead of attracting them because authenticity and confidence are precisely what create that magnetic aura. When we adopt an attitude of universal love, meaning when we're open to connecting with everyone around us without specific expectations in return, we cultivate genuine confidence. This openness brings lightness to interactions and shows we're not waiting for others to complete us. And that's exactly what makes someone naturally interesting and magnetic. Imagine this. You meet someone new at work or a social event, and right away, you feel the urge to please them, to make them like you. So you start adjusting what you say, how you act, and even laugh at things you don't find that funny, all to make a good impression. At first, they seem to respond positively, but over time, you notice the connection doesn't deepen, and everything feels forced. It's like the more you try to please them, the more distant they become, and the connection lacks authenticity. Now let's imagine a second scenario. You meet someone new, but this time you're at peace with yourself and relaxed with no rush to impress. You act naturally, speak your mind, and share your ideas and preferences spontaneously without worrying about meeting their expectations. This way, you attract people who truly appreciate your personality, and if they're not interested, even better. It shows they didn't genuinely connect with who you are, so there's no time wasted on someone who doesn't align with you. So how do we start cultivating this authenticity and developing a magnetic energy that attracts the right people? The first step is to stop seeking approval from others and focus on strengthening our own confidence and sense of value. This begins with small acts of self-acceptance and, above all, honesty with yourself. Allow yourself to make choices and express opinions that genuinely reflect who you are without filtering through, will they like me if I do this? Instead of trying to tailor your words and actions to please, practice being truthful in everyday conversations. Whether in social settings, at work, or even online, start noticing when you're performing and replace that impulse with more authentic responses. Here's a challenging but incredibly rewarding suggestion. Try a social media detox for a few days, at least 5. The world won't end if you're offline for a week, so relax and use that time to disconnect from comparisons and the constant influences bombarding you on social media. This detox is a way to detach your perception from what's expected or normal based on the people you follow. During this time, take the opportunity to observe yourself without the need to compare or absorb others' content. When the detox ends, make a list to reflect on your own impressions and interests. What do you truly enjoy? Anything from favorite foods to sports or movies. What don't you like as much? How's your mood after being offline? What topics do you enjoy discussing? And what would you like to learn or improve in the coming months? This simple yet transformative exercise will help align your choices with what genuinely resonates with you, rather than what's trendy or seems attractive to others. By better understanding your own preferences and values, you'll strengthen your self-confidence and create a solid foundation of authenticity. And that's the true essence of being magnetic. Another powerful step to developing this magnetic energy and a universal love perspective is engaging in volunteer work. Choose something that resonates with you, whether helping vulnerable people, working with animals, or supporting an environmental cause. By stepping outside yourself and dedicating time to help others, you naturally expand your connection and compassion. In addition to positively impacting those around you, volunteering also brings a sense of well-being and purpose. Studies show that helping others can reduce stress, combat depression, and even improve physical health, as social interactions and a sense of contributing to something meaningful have very positive effects on the mind and body. Think of this as an exercise to strengthen universal love and live a more connected life. Over time, this experience brings a lightness and confidence that shine through in your personal relationships. In the end, you attract people who value your essence and share this generous, genuine spirit. Being authentic is like learning something new. You get the hang of it with practice. With each experience, you'll get to know yourself better and become more comfortable showing who you are. In the end, being yourself becomes natural over time, leaving you confident and magnetic in your own skin. May we always attract people who resonate with who we truly are. Happy practicing! See you next time.